Hello everyone, welcome back. Happy Saturday. This video I will be talking about my top books from 2019. Side note, this is first reads only. I am the type of person who loves to reread books and I've done a lot of that this year, so this is only towards my first reads. Okay, gotta admit, this was really hard for me. Thank God there's Goodreads to keep track of what I read because my brain cannot remember that stuff. It was so difficult. It really was. Trying to figure out what books were my favourites and if I should have top 5, top 10, or just like a random amount. And this one is top 5. Kind of. There's a slight twist in there somewhere, but I will also tell you the possible ones that didn't quite make the cut at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. These books are in no way any shape or form in any order. I don't have a favourite, I don't have a second favourite, I won't be able to choose that. That is too difficult for me. My opinion changes quite often. So yeah, these are just top 5 in random order. So first but not least, Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. For a debut novel, Casey McQuiston did an amazing job. I can't say that enough. I've read quite a few debuts. This year was surprisingly well done for debut authors, but I have to admit, Casey, she's up there. She wins for the best one. I'm so happy that she won Best Debut Novel and Best Romance Novel in the 2019 Goodreads Awards this year. I admit it, I voted for her every single time in those categories because she deserved it. Now, if you haven't read this book, you really should. It follows... Actually, I'm not going to tell you what it's about because this video will go on forever. And you don't have the time, I don't have the time. You understand. But to narrow it down, it's a political romance. It's a much better version of America. I don't want to have any haters out there, I'm sorry. Obviously I'm British, so, you know, that's just my opinion. But, you know, I wish that the mum in this book was the actual president because she'd be so great. It's about the president's son and the queen's son from England becoming friends and becoming partners. And the two guys. Yeah, you heard it. It's an LGBTQ+ romance book. It's perfect. You should read it. And that is one of my top 5 books of the year because it surprised me. It was so fun and so funny. Casey, I can't wait to read more of her books because her humour is top notch and her characters are so realistic that afterwards I miss them as if they were my friends. So you should read it. Next up in my list is, of course, Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. It's not a complete year if I didn't have a Sarah J Maas book in my favourites. She always does such an amazing job, and this one was no exception. Kingdom of Ash completed the Throne of Glass series. It was the final book, the 7th book of the Throne of Glass series, and it was a journey. It was so crazy. My emotions, I've talked about this very briefly in my other video. Yeah, I have to include it. The fact that series is now over is so sad, and I have to appreciate the book for what it is and put it in my top 5 of the year. So Kingdom of Ash is in there, and you should read Throne of Glass series too. I'm just going to say that for everyone. These books are my favourites for a reason, so you should go read them. But after this video. So we're going to switch it up a little bit now. So we've had a contemporary romance novel, we've had fantasy. Now we're just going to go to full-on historical romance. I read this book beginning of December. It blew me away. I don't know why. I guess it's because I don't usually read historical romance. I love romance, but I don't really go towards that subgenre. And Lisa Kleypas is amazing. I keep using the word amazing, but it's amazing. I've never read any of her books before. I'm guessing she kind of solely focuses on historical romance. And there's a reason, because she's so good at it. I loved her characters, I loved her storyline, the pace of the book was perfect. Yeah, I kind of just picked it up thinking, oh, this is kind of a period on my recommended for a while. I'm just gonna see how it goes, and I'm so glad I did, because then I ended up reading 4 or 5 of her books in a row. Yeah, that happened. So there you go, you can see how fun they are, especially this time of year, just to like curl up with a good romance book. Pick up Lisa Kleypas's work, because it's just, I haven't even said the name of the title. The name of the book that I read that I loved more than any of the others was Mine Till Midnight, the first book of the Hathaway series. The Hathaway series follows the Hathaway sisters, and each get their own story. The first one was following Amelia and Cam, and yeah, it was my favourite. It was just, I don't know, warmed my heart. Maybe because of the shock of it as well. Didn't expect it to be so good. Yeah, that was my favourite. One of my other favourite books of the year it's technically a series, so this is why I said there's a little twist in this list, because I couldn't pick just one. If I had to, maybe the second one. But anyway, this series is the Bloodlines series by Richelle Mead. I'd only just read it this year, so I was kind of ashamed of myself. But you know, I finally done it, and I enjoyed it so much that I have to put it on my top list. I don't know what it was, because, I don't know, vampire books are touchy-feely, you know. Some are amazing, some are meh. But Richelle Mead, there's a reason she's like queen of vampire books. She did so well on the Bloodlines series, and I did read, I think, 3 or 4 books of the Vampire Academy in school years and years ago. I can't remember what age I was, but it was a long time ago. But just from small memories of that and snippets that I remember, immediately I knew that Bloodlines, yeah, takes the lead. It was a lot better than what I expected. I had low expectations because of my vague memory of reading Vampire Academy. Bear in mind, I do want to read it again. My friend did tell me that I should read it again after reading Bloodlines. Maybe you'll have a different opinion, especially because I'm older. Who knows? But I will give that a try, but Bloodlines wins. I'm very happy I read it, and yeah. The final book out of the top 5 is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. So this book was written by Mackenzie Lee. First book I read of hers. Theme this year seems to be another historical one. Yeah, that seems to be a big theme this year as well. I don't know what happened. Like, what happened that made me suddenly gravitate towards history? Historical romance. Yeah, I don't know what gravitated me towards that genre, but I'm not complaining. This book was so good, and if you read my review, you will see why I loved it so much. I will briefly touch on that here though. Mackenzie Lee, she touched on a lot of controversial topics in that one book, going from LGBTQ plus to racism to illnesses. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. To women's education. So that's 4 things that she kind of not based her characters around, but each character had some type of issue or controversial topic that was linked with their lives, and I just can't say enough. She wrote it so well. The characters themselves, Monty, the main protagonist, was so funny, and it was interesting being in his head because he's such a wild lad. His best friends, Percy and his sister, they were a lot of fun. It was kind of, it's a historical adventure romance book, though, with humour thrown in there as well. It's got a bit of everything, so I felt like I had to include it in my top 5 because I was so shocked by it, and the way that maybe those controversial topics did have something to do with it. I think I'm just happy that she did and worked into it so seamlessly. It didn't feel like it was all about that. It was just a really fun read, and yeah, it's in my top 5. So now I will say the books that were going to make it but didn't quite make the cut. There was Breeder of Warriors, Sky in the Deep, and Echoes of Scotland Street. So Breeder of Warriors was written by Stacey Logan. Sadly, isn't read a lot. Because on Goodreads, I think it had maybe 2 reviews. Yeah, it's pretty low down and not heard about much, which really surprised me because I enjoyed it so much. It's a high fantasy book following a group of, I want to say 7 kids from the ages of 7 or 8 leading up to adulthood. It follows their life and their journey through basically slavehood, if that's a word. Yeah, their town where they live is ransacked by this evil man who rules over it all, and all the children in that town are forced to become soldiers from such a young age, and it's about them trying to live through that and just survive. I enjoyed it so much. So I was so heartbroken when I went onto Goodreads to gladly review it and then saw that. Yeah, so please give it some love. I wanted to mention it in here because, you know, more people should know about it. Maybe it's not your cup of tea, but give it a look anyway. Give the blurb a read. Give Stacey Logan some love because she was very nice to me. She even liked and commented on my review and put my quote on her website. Yeah, I was so happy about that, I'm not gonna lie. So I did read Breed of Warriors from NetGalley, which is a website where they lend you free ebooks in exchange for a review. So that's the only way I heard about it. If it hadn't been for NetGalley, I wouldn't have read it either. So it's kind of a sad thing to think about. So go give Breed of Warriors some love. Next up is Sky in the Deep by Adrian Young. It's a Viking novel. Yeah, I think it was released end of last year. I was really bummed about it because I couldn't rate it in the Goodreads awards, so I was just a bit late to the party, but I'm glad I read it anyway. It was so good. First Viking book I've ever read. We need more of that in fantasy genre. It was a load of fun. Characters were written really well. Story was great pace. It just didn't quite make the cut, I'm afraid, because it was between Sky in the Deep and The Gentleman's Guide. I was flicking between them, but I think what's interwoven between The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue kind of won over, just slightly, but Sky in the Deep is up there anyway. And then it's Echoes of Scotland Street by Samantha Young. I've read a lot of Samantha Young this year and last year as well. Love her writing, love her characters. Again, need to have lovable characters for me. In order for me to actually enjoy the book, I need to really, really stand those characters. And yeah, I love her relationships in her books. This one in particular, out of all of her On Dublin Street series and books, won out more than the others. I don't know why, but it just seemed a lot easier for me to read, and I enjoyed it a lot more than the other books that I read. I think it was like the last 3 that I read this year from On Dublin Street series. But yeah guys, that's it. That is my top books of 2019. I just wanted to add in the last 3 that didn't make the top 5 because, you know, they were close. It was so close and so difficult to choose between them, so I had to add them. Yes, I will leave all the books that I've included in this video in the description box below so you can easily go find them and give them a read. You need to read them, it's worth it, promise. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Hopefully. I better be on time. This is when I'm testing myself with my editing right now. So have a lovely day or weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.